Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. So yes, we are continuing with the standard meta decks, and yes, we are playing once again a Reclamation deck. But what is different with this version? So 2 days ago I showed you the Karuga version, which is my favorite current deck in standard, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But this is the other version which only cares about the expansion explosion. So what do you do with this deck? You kind of try to control the board using cards like Scorching, Dragonfire, cycling Shark Typhoon, Storm's Wrath, and things like that, to get into a position where you can play your Reclamation, and then you have your expansion explosion in hand. So with like enough Reclamations or enough lands in play, you can float your mana, untap, and then use a lethal expansion explosion or like the explosion part to just kill off your opponent. One thing I do want to mention to you before we get into the DeckTech is that be always careful of how much you cast explosion for, because let's say you're trying to kill your opponent, he's at 15 but you only have 14 cards in your deck. If you do that, you're gonna deck out and then you're going to lose the game. So make sure that you check that out. Now what's a workaround around this? Just target your opponent, make him take 15 and then make him draw 15 as well. So that way he's already dead, so you don't care if he draws a bunch of cards. And then that way you also don't lose the game. So that's it for like what I wanted to tell you. Now what is the good thing about this deck? Scorching Dragonfire is a very good removal spell, especially that currently Mono Red is kind of back onto the scene, so this card is good against them, obviously interaction. And against Jund Sacrifice, you have your Dragonfire to just kill off the cat. Now most Jund players will actually not bring back the cat unless they have the oven to directly sacrifice it, but in case your opponent misplays, always keep that play in mind. It's also good against the mirror, because if your opponent plays Uro on the stack, you can Scorching Dragonfire it, and that way you will cause it to exile itself, because Uro does go to grave when he sacrifices himself, and then that way you deal with Uro for 2 mana. And sometimes against control players where they like minus teferi, you can surprise them with that Dragonfire card. Trust me, it's a very good card, and I'm glad that it's back into standard. Besides that, we have our Negates, Mystical Disputes, and Neutralize to kind of deal with control. I really like this card with Wilderness, because sometimes Teferi players will let you resolve your Reclamation even though you have nothing, because they have Teferi, so they think you have nothing to do. But you can always cycle your Neutralize, and that way you kind of have something to do even though you have nothing. Uro is a way for you to ramp and to gain life. That's good against aggro, and Growth Spiral is just a way for you to ramp, and it's such a good card. Turn 3 Reclamation is super powerful. Chemistry's Insight is kind of here to let us pull through with card advantage, especially that we are running a lot of lands, so like we're running 28 lands, so then you have a way to kind of discard your lands and not flood that way. And Storm's Wrath is just a board wipe against aggro. Now I have not struggled against Jund Sacrifice. Against Mono Red it was always depending on the draw, so make sure you mulligan correctly. But besides that, you shouldn't worry too much. Don't worry about the land base, I'll include it in the description down below. For the sideboard, I chose what I think will be good, but this might change in a couple of weeks, this might change tomorrow. You never know what happens with the meta and standard. So if you ever want to discuss the sideboard options with me, please make sure to join my Discord server so we can discuss everything. Now, I went with the Soul Guide Lantern because it's good against Jund Sacrifice and against cycling decks. Now, why am I playing only 1 copy? Because you go through your deck quickly in this kind of deck, so you shouldn't worry too much about how many options you play. If you're running into way too many cycling decks, maybe you can just cut down the tails end and just play 2 of this, so like that's good. Aether Gust is good because again it's mono red against mono red, I mean, because it's gonna be rampant, and it's also good against the Soul Tyrant variant and like anything that's running green. Basically this is good again. Negate is just negate. I mean, I don't really have to explain where you side this in against. Yes, and I usually side it in against Jund Sacrifice because it's a 2 mana counter Bolus Citadel, and that's not a bad thing. Or you can sometimes just countering 1 activated ability from like the oven can sometimes save the game, and trust me, I'm not even joking about this. I once survived at 1 HP just using Tails End, and sometimes you can Tails End or your opponent's Fabled Passage. Yes, that's very mean, but that's something you can do. Fry is just to deal with Teferi. Borrower is kind of for us to switch into the tempo game post board. Flame Sweep is good against aggressive decks, so always bring this in. I'll show you how to sideboard in the game, so don't worry about that too much. Chemistry's Insight is here for like kind of the grindy matchups, because that way you can side it in and then keep on drawing. Maybe with your Reclamations, you draw 4 cards per turn, and maybe if you float the mana, play it, and then untap with Reclamation, draw again. That's always something good to do. Mythos is here because it could copy Elspeth Conquers Death, and that's good against a lot of matchups. And Nightpack Ambush is just here again for us to switch into a flash strategy post board against control. So usually I bring in the borrowers, I bring in the ambusher, and I usually cut down on my reclamations because I don't want to be on the reclamation plan. I want to be more on the tempo plan against control. So that's going to be pretty much it for the DeckTech. If again you think that you're running into way too many cycling decks, cut down Tails and cut down maybe on Negate and bring in another Soul God's Lantern or something like that. So don't worry too much about it. Before we go into our games, I would like to please ask you to subscribe because it really helps the channel. And with that, I'll see you in the games. Going into our first game of Temur Rec. Reclamation is one of my favorite cards, trust me. I mean, you probably know that already, but like if you don't, just you know that now. This is not a bad hand. I mean, this is a bad hand, but seeing how we have Negate kind of encourages me to keep, but having 5 lands in your opening hand is not something you want. This is a way better hand. Yes, you don't have access to red quite yet. I'd rather keep the Chemistry's Insight than the Shark Typhoon currently. We're going to lead off with our Temple of Mystery. I don't want another Shark Typhoon. I really want a red source at this stage, but even if we don't, if opponent thinks we're playing Simic Flash and then he plays differently, I'm fine with that. Alright, so opponent starts with the red, so I don't know what that really tells me about what he's playing, but I mean, we can always figure it out as we go. Is he playing some kind of 4-color control deck? Maybe, that is an option. I mean, decks like post-meta are not like always known, so I can't really tell what the opponent is playing directly. I don't think he's playing Mardu Knight. I don't think Mardu Knight would want to play Yorion anyways. So currently opponent has no access to Counterspells, so that makes me feel good about my Growth Spiral. Can we top deck a land? Can we top deck a land? Deck. Alright, so opponent might just continue his plays thinking that we are playing Simic Flash and not Reclamation, and that kind of doesn't really bother me because if he keeps playing around Counterspells that do not exist, I'm fine with that. Alright, is opponent playing Mardu Control? I mean, I've not seen that quite yet, but if he is, I mean, I'm very excited to see what opponent has. Because like, I always like to see new strategies in Magic. That's the biggest part of Magic I enjoy, seeing new strategies, seeing new tactics. Oath of Kaya targeting me is fine with me. I'm not gonna counter that. I really much rather Chemistry's Insight. Try to dig for a red source and for a Reclamation maybe, seeing that how we have an expansion in hand. Temple of Mystery for like a future red source is fine. I think we're just going to run out our Reclamation. Now we have access to Growth Spiral and Neutralize, which feels good. Like, it feels very, very good. And even we can dispute Growth Spiral. We have a bunch of options for this turn. I'm wondering what opponent might play. Alright, so opponent is playing Treacherous Blessing. Do I want him to draw that many cards? I really doubt it. I'm gonna dispute because when you get to do something with your dispute, you always go for that because dispute loses value as the game goes longer, especially because opponent is not playing blue. If he was playing blue, maybe I would have played a bit differently because dispute doesn't lose that much value against blue, but here it is, so like I'd rather use it when I can. It's like whenever you keep your Spell Pierce, you use it as soon as you get an option to use your Spell Pierce because it is going to lose value the longer the game goes. So I'm gonna keep up, I'm not gonna keep up double Neutralize. I don't think I'd ever need to do that. Do we go for the full value? Yes, let's go for the full value. So we're gonna do our expansion for 5, draw 5, deal 5. So opponent takes 5 damage, we're gonna draw 5. And I think I can safely untap with only 1 counter spell up because like, I mean, what will opponent do that's scary? That's this scary. Don't think there's a bunch of things that scare me this much. We could have played our Triome with the Growth Spiral maybe, but I think I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather cycle it for the future turns. So opponent, I really want to see more of his deck before we kind of get the win, in case we do get the win, because like I want to see what to play around. So we're going to neutralize Calyx because Calyx is just going to get him so much value in the long game, and that's not something I want to give my opponent. Currently opponent is a bit low on resources, so that makes me feel good. I promise I'm not an evil person, but I mean, I am playing a deck that cares about your opponent being a bit behind. Do we discard, I think we just discard the Steam Bands, I think we're fine with that, or just discard the Stomping Grounds. I'd rather keep more blue sources for the future than keep the Stomping Grounds. So what do we do? I think we Growth Spiral currently. Set up for the future turns, we play our Steam Vents, and then we play our Cast Advantages, and I think that's good enough. Maybe you can scry at unstep if opponent doesn't do anything, or we can just neutralize, that's also an option. If opponent doesn't go for like anything that's too scary, I'm just going to cycle my Triome and scry. Doom Foretold is not something that I want to deal with, because it will take care of our reclamations, so it's not something I want to give my opponent. If he had anything that could have prevented that, I would have not countered Doom Foretold, that's not something I want anyways. I'm gonna cycle the Triome maybe to see if there's anything I would want to cast. Yeah, so Growth Spiral, obviously. That's something you would want to cast. Negate is good, but it's a bit too late. I mean, for like, we can't counter Cinder Vines again. I'm gonna use Fabled Passage just to thin out my deck a bit more. I have a bunch more, like I have 2 more basics, but that's easy enough. So how many lands do we currently have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10. So we can Expansion Explosion for 16. That's not lethal yet. I think it's not lethal yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 and 10, that's 20. So I'm not gonna go for the full 20, obviously. So let's just go for Reclamation for a huge number. I think I'm gonna keep Dispute and Negate up. So besides that, we can tap out safely. I'm just going to keep 3 resources. Let's tap our lands that only produce 1 color first. And then I think I'm fine just keeping 5 mana. I'm gonna untap this because I didn't mean to tap it. Yeah, we currently can Dispute and Negate, so I feel good about that. I'm going to Expansion Explosion for 11. And I think the game should pretty much be over. I mean, I'm drawing 11 cards, opponent is down to 7 HP. I mean, just having 11 cards with you is enough. Even if opponent uses Cinder Vines to blow up our Reclamation, I'm pretty sure we're gonna draw another one. Alright, so yeah, we definitely do. So we're going to pass into Unstep. Fabled Passage is not good currently because we drew our last basic. Do I want more lands? I don't think I do. I don't think I want this. I don't think I want this either. Another Dispute is not feeling that good. And Scorching Dragonfire is simply not something that I want. Opponent isn't looking like he plays creatures anyways. So Cinder Vines is probably going to take care of our Wilderness, and that's sad, but we have another one in our hands, so we don't really care about that. And opponent has 2 cards in hand. I don't think there's anything that kind of really sets me behind. Oath of Kaya is okay. I mean, we're taking 3. He's going up to 10, but expansion is still going to kill him anyways, so like, that's fine with me. I'm sorry I keep referring to my opponent as a him. I don't mean anything by that, but it's just like a habit. So let's just play our Reclamation, and then let's just... Can we kill him? I think we can. Let's just test out my theory. So we're going to float red, blue, and then anything. I don't really care about what color that is. So 4, 3, we can deal definitely 10 if I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm really wrong. I mean, I'm joking. I'm wrong most of the time actually. So yes, we can get to kill our opponent. I mean, if I was at a very low deck number, like a number of cards, I would have targeted my opponent with the draw effect, but we're not. So opponent's playing some kind of weird control deck, so I think we bring in our ambushers just to kind of switch into a tempo plan. We do bring in our negates. Do I want to cut out some Reclamations? I don't think we need the Storm's Wrath. Besides that, do I want to cut on my Reclamations? I think I do, because opponent's probably gonna be bringing in more Cinder Vines and things like that. So we're going to bring in Chemist's Insight and 2 Borrowers. What do I cut on? I think Neutralize is simply not as good when I have 4 negates, so like we're cut on that thing. I think that's a good enough plan. I don't think I want to bring in Fry just to deal with Calyx. I don't think that's worth it. So I think that's the plan. So we're switching into kind of a tempo deck now, so we can just flash in things, and then if we ever get to like the plan of Reclamation expansion, I don't think we're gonna mind. Alright, so we do draw our Reclamation anyways. I think this is a good enough hand. We have Borrower in case he resolves something that we can deal with early on, and then we have our Negate to deal with like everything else. Opponent is playing a very cool deck, I'm not gonna deny that. Like, this is the first time I've seen Enchantment Control in Standard, and I'm very excited to see this. 4-color Enchantment Control feels like a very cool deck. I don't know whether it's meta or not because I don't know the list, I don't know what the deck does. But if it ever does become meta, I'll make a deck about it, don't worry. I will still play casual decks, don't worry about it. This is not becoming a meta deck channel. But I just want to tackle as many meta decks as possible, seeing how we just got the bans in Standard, and I think I want to show you what you can play first, and then we can start building around things that are just cool. Do I want to negate this? I don't think so. Last time I did it was because I wanted to do things with my mana, and because I already had another counterspell in my hand. This time I don't really feel forced into doing that. We're going to play our Stomping Ground stat, or like actually I'm going to play my Breeding Pool tap, and then I'm just going to pass. If opponent goes for Calyx, I'm just going to negate that because I don't want him to gain incremental card advantage. He doesn't have a red source currently, so Cinder Vines is not on my radar yet. Alright, so opponent still doesn't have a red source. We're going to negate it, and I'm very sorry opponent, but I don't think I can let you resolve that. If opponent untaps and plays Doom Foretold, I'm a bit behind, don't get me wrong, but we can flash in Brazen Borrower at upkeep. That way we deal with like Doom Foretold trigger temporarily. It's not a good feeling, but I mean it's what we can do. I'm just giving you options. So what's happening, opponent? Do you Doom Foretold? Alright, another Calyx feels definitely bad, but you can always Brazen Borrower to get back the Wilderness Reclamation. Sure, that kind of gives him another draw with the Blessing, but I don't really mind that. Yes, Calyx, you're very cool, you're very edgy, I get that. You can finish your speech. Alright, opponent digs, what does he get? I'm really fine with that. Really fine with that. So opponent has a red source now, so Cindervines is definitely on my radar currently. Do I want to kill his Calyx? Can we even do that? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our land, so 5. 5 times 2, that's 10. 10 expansion explosion for 6 is currently the max. Do I want to just kill him and tap out? I think that's the plan. I think that is definitely the plan. Or you can just bounce it with Borrower and then draw a card. With draw cards, I mean with Chemisters, that's also something. Yeah, I think we just go for the plan of bouncing it with Borrower, forcing him to replay it, and then we can just kill it with the Borrower next turn. So we're just going to bounce it. Alright, opponent, I'm sorry, but I mean, I did not want you to have that. So we're just going to end our turn. We're going to float the mana so we can draw with it. So float all of this and then tap the mountain. Discard our Stomping Grounds. I don't think we need the lands at this stage. We just want to get into maybe another Reclamation or into other things, like for example another Expansion Explosion to kind of take over the game in the future. If opponent replays his Calyx, I think I just counter it. Do I care that much about this card? Like, it's going to keep gaining him life every turn, and I don't think that's a problem with me, honestly. I think just playing our Borrower next turn feels good enough. Birth of Mallet is also fine to resolve. So opponent, this is a turn that I don't really care about. I think I'm good with everything that he did. We're going to Growth Spiral, play our Passage, and then dig for an island. Island, play Borrower. I think that's a very good plan. Alright, opponent digs for like a land, and then doesn't play that land. So I think I wouldn't have given my opponent the information that I also had a land in hand. That's not a wise idea in my opinion, but I mean opponent might have something that he wants to resolve next turn, so I could be just not aware of some information that made him do that. We're going to attack our opponent for 3, start kind of pressuring him. We're going to play our Temple, and I might just go for Expansion Explosion just because we have first one. Uro is not that good because he has his God of Destiny. If he didn't, I would have maybe kept it on top. So we're going to float our mana, float mana, float mana, float even more mana. Did I mention that I love floating mana? Currently I want to keep up 5 mana, which is Dispute Negate in case I do draw into them. So like, I think we can safely tap this, and this. We have currently, I mean, we don't tap the last one. So currently we can expansion for 4, and I think that's good enough. So expansion for 4, opponent takes 4, I draw 4, let's just do that. So opponent, alright, so I don't get my wish of getting a negate. I think Passage is currently not that good because like I have most of my basics in my hand. I mean, I think we still have 1 forest and 1 island if I'm not wrong, and if I remember my list. Besides that, I don't think we have that many things. Ambusher feels very good because like we can apply some tempo pressure that way, but he does have the blocker for it, so I don't know how good I feel about that. If opponent plays Calyx, I might just let that resolve. Ethereal Absolution. Let's think about this very, very well. Do I really care about that? I mean, do I just rather prefer? I think yeah, we just win the game. I don't think I really mind this. So yes, sure, my Borrower dies, but I can just play my Ambusher now. The next turn bounce the creature, attack with the Ambusher, or you could just Expansion Explosion for the win. But I mean, be cool and then attack with your wolf. Attacking with wolves feels super nice because it's one of also my favorite cards. I played them in the Sultai Reclamation deck that I was playing in Pioneer. So I'll tell you more about that deck in game 2. I'm pretty sure that we have time to go for another game. So we're going to Expansion Explosion for 7. Opponent, you take 7. We're gonna draw 7. I'm actually pretty interested in what opponent was playing, so I'm sorry I had to kill you, opponent. With that, we win the game. I think we're at Diamond Tier 3 currently. I don't remember what I grinded to yesterday. So let's just check together. Yes, we are Diamond Tier 3. We're gonna see you in the next game. So going into our second game of Temur Rec, I'm very excited to play this. And if you still don't know up until this point that I love this card, I'm gonna repeat it again. I love Reclamation. This hand is very mediocre. I mean, we have early interaction, we have dispute, but I think if opponent's playing red and we don't draw into more lands, I think we're screwed. But we do play a bunch of lands and we can just cycle neutralize in case we don't get into anything. I think I'm gonna keep this, although this is very mediocre, but I don't think we can hit something that insanely better. And I want to see what my opponent is playing. So like I don't have the optimal decision quite yet. Alright, so opponent is playing mono red, which makes my decision of keeping not that bad, seeing how we have a Scorching Dragonfire. For like, if he goes for what was his name, the Robber of the Rich, now we can just kill it. And that feels good because that card usually goes up out of nowhere. Alright, so Perfect Champion and all of this card is fine with me. I'm gonna kill the champion because it has the most potential to be annoying in the future. Seeing how it can pump itself to multiple, and you don't think opponent has one yet, but you can top that one in the future. I think I'd rather play an untapped land just so I can neutralize or dispute something in the future. Currently taking 2 per turn is not the biggest problem. Currently we have a long shot up until our hand becomes actually good, but I think we're fine up until then. So we're gonna take 2. Opponent, do you play light up the stage? I'm assuming. Like, is this a light up the stage turn? I think I let it resolve. I really don't care about it. I mean, I can just counter whatever he gets. And we're probably gonna cycle neutralize if he doesn't do anything. If he doesn't play at 1 drop, he doesn't do anything. Do I Mystical Dispute the other light up the stage? I think we do. He's behind on land drops, I'm not wrong, so I don't mind keeping him off of them. Alright, so we're gonna Temple of Mana Mystery. Uro is good because it gains us some life. So we're gonna keep that on top, and then we're just going to pass. If this continues, I don't mind every turn I try to cast something, I deal with it. We're gonna dispute the Robber of the Rich as well because that card is very annoying. And the opponent is gonna keep on dealing only 2 damage for every turn, and that's fine with me, honestly. So we're going to Temple, what do you have in store for us? Expansion Explosion is not good currently because we don't have another red source. And we also don't have like anything good to kill quite yet. So opponent attacks us for 2, I'm assuming. Is that the case? Alright, so opponent keeping attacking us for 2 per turn, that's fine with me. We're going to Core Spiral into maybe a land, and then we can Uro next turn and keep Neutralize up, or Reclamation is also a plan. We're gonna keep our Neutralize in hand. Usually Neutralize is very shit against mono red because you can't keep up, but opponent just did not draw into his lands and we're feeling good about that. So opponent, it's your turn. I'm assuming there's a stomp coming at my face this step. Alright, so yeah, I am right. I could have countered it, but I don't mind. I mean, I'd much rather counter maybe an Anax or something like that. So I want to see what my opponent does. Or you can just Shark Typhoon and cycle at the end step. So we are in a good position currently. Yeah, we can just cycle Shark Typhoon for 3. And that should be enough to block whatever he has in mind to attack with for the future. He could use his Dodger's ability to have it become unblockable, but I mean, he's going to tap out with that, and that's fine with me. Uro getting us into a land would mean double Counterspell for next turn. That's not usually a thing against mono red. Like, your Counterspells are usually bad, but I mean, we got lucky and the opponent got unlucky. Alright, so we do have access to Counterspells next turn. I'm gonna keep the Shark Typhoon to prompt him into double activating so he can attack and then just not get his things to die. So like, does that work? And if opponent attacks so he can just stomp the Shark post combat, that's fine with me. Anax does not resolve opponent. I mean, I don't know if you really expected anything to resolve at this stage. I can assure you that nothing is going to resolve at this stage. That's like something I can promise deep down. Opponent, nothing's gonna resolve at this stage. So we can Uro now, and that feels super good. We can exile anything, and I think this game is just ours for the taking. I think this game is simply, we're just so ahead on life, we're so ahead on, we're not ahead on life because like we are down in life total, but we're ahead on resources, we're ahead on everything else. So that makes me feel good about the future. We're going to untap, and we're feeling good about this turn. So opponent, what could you do? Thorbrand even is fine actually, because like we can just, I don't think there's anything we mind really. So we're just going to neutralize this Bonkers Giant, and I think we're just so ahead at this point it's not even funny. For our opponent at least. For me it's very funny. Opponent, I respect you not conceding at this stage. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to not concede against this overwhelming board state. Do I even want to Scorching Dragonfire this? I don't think the answer is yes. I really don't think the answer is yes. I think I Scorching Dragonfire the other one and try to go for the game with attacking for Uro, with attacking with Uro I mean, and then Expansion Explosion on step. We're going to deck for a red source, doesn't really matter what we go for, we have perfect mana at this stage. So attack for 9, land isn't a problem. So currently we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. 7 times 2, that's 14. We still don't have it lethal, so we're just going to hard cast a Shark Typhoon. That's always something. I still can't believe we have that much time against Mono Red to hard cast a Shark Typhoon, and that ends the game. I'm having connection issues, so I'm gonna cut sideboarding and then I'll come back to you very quickly. Alright, so connection is back. Now what do I want to take out? I want to take out obviously all of my counter spells because they're not good. What do I bring in is a very good question. I think Flame Sweep is good. Borrower is a decent bounce effect. What else do we have in mind? I think these are most of the things that we want to bring in. Maybe bring in a Nightback Ambusher. And if I'm not wrong, we're gonna bring in the Aether Gust. Now what do I take out for the last Aether Gust? I think we can take out one Reclamation because we don't really need it. If we survive against Mono Red, I think we're just so ahead that we can just win. We don't need the mana ramp from Reclamation, so I think we're fine taking our time and then just going the slow route with all of this. So let's hope we draw into some board wipes, some interaction. Alright, so we have interaction, we have an Aether Gust, we have a Scorching Dragonfire. Our hand is decent. We don't have a land, but I think we can just top deck a land. We are playing 28 lands, meaning that there's still 26 lands left for us to find, and I think we're fine with that. Alright, so Reclamation off the top doesn't feel that good, but I mean it's fine. Alright, so opponent doesn't play Robber of the Rich. Alright, so is this a Robber of the Rich turn, and then you take my land? Is that turn? Alright, so it's a Steamkin, which is fine. At least it's not a Robber of the Rich taking my lands. Alright, so we're gonna play the Breeding Pool, just because I want to have access to green for the future. And like it doesn't really matter at this stage, so like we're fine. Runaway Steamkin is going to get bigger, I'm assuming. Alright, Anax is fine with me because we can just do I Aether Gust it, or do I Aether Gust the Steamkin? I might just Aether Gust the Steamkin and then next turn just deal with the Anax by Scorching Dragon firing it. Alright, so we're going to Aether Gust the Steamkin. Opponent, do you want to draw into a Steamkin next turn? Opponent actually wants to draw into a Steamkin next turn. That makes me very... Like, I question what he has in hand currently. He doesn't mind redrawing into a Steamkin. Alright, so we're gonna Steam Vent Stabbed, and then next turn we can play Reclamation, untap, or we can just Uro, solve that way. Alright, that's the Steamkin we already know about. That's fine with me. Opponent attacking us for 1, I'm assuming maybe light up the stage. Alright, still this isn't a very bad turn. If we top deck the Wrath, we're in a very good spot. If we don't, it's fine. Now the question is, do I play Reclamation? Opponent might be getting into Embercleave territory. If he does, he can deal 8 and then 8, 9, 10. Alright, so wait, if he plays Embercleave, he attacks with everything, Embercleave. Stinking gets a counter, he's up to 3, and then Stinking gets another counter, he's up to 4. 4, that's 8, 9, 10. I don't think we're dead to that, so I think we don't mind playing our Reclamation and trying to dig for our future board wipes, so with like a Chemist's Insight and things like that. I know, I mean, we're not in that insane of a position, but we're not behind in any way. If you're not dead to Embercleave against Mono Red, you're still pretty fine in my opinion. Alright, so what we could be dead for is a Fervent Champion and an Embercleave. Does he have literally the perfect hand? Does he have an Embercleave? Does he have an Embercleave is the question. That's always something you should think against Mono Red. Does he have the Embercleave? Alright, yes, we are taking a huge chunk of damage, but if no Embercleave is present, we are fine. Please no Embercleave. Alright, at least we survive, that feels good. I mean, surviving against Mono Red is the goal at the end. Light up the stage is, I mean, not light up the stage. Skewer the Critics is lethal, but they're not playing it apparently. Chemist's Insight, please, a board wipe. That's not a board wipe. That's not a board wipe either. Does that mean we're simply dead? Can we like pull off something to stay alive? Let's try to pull off something with Uro. Maybe a Counterspell, not a Counterspell, a kill spell for the Stinking can get us somehow back into this game. Shark Typhoon is not the thing I wanted to see, but I mean it's not bad. Alright, so maybe we go with Expansion Explosion for 1 kill off the champion, and then one of the champions, and then cycle Shark Typhoon. I think that's the line of play we can go for. Didn't play a land for turn, so I'm going to play this. Yeah, I think we go for the line I was mentioning, which is Expansion Explosion, one of these champions for 1, and then just playing Shark Typhoon as a blocker for the Steamkin, I'm assuming. So let's just... Can we do that? That's a question. I think, yeah, we can. 1, 2... Yeah, we can. We definitely can. Alright. So that feels decent. I mean, we're not quite good, and we're not in a good position currently, but we're trying our best. So if we draw into a Wrath, that also feels good for the next turn. Besides that, we're not okay. What could be brutal? Infuriate? We don't have Infuriate. Has Bone Crusher Giant to our face. Does that kill us? That's a very good question. Does that kill us? Currently opponent can deal 2, and then we can deal with the Stinkin, so we're not bad except if opponent... Actually yeah, we are that because opponent can just use his castle to pump his board, but does opponent see it is the question. Alright, so we're gonna assume our opponent doesn't see it and we're gonna go with our option of Shark Typhoon plus... I really hope opponent doesn't see it. I really hope opponent doesn't see it. I mean, he's in diamond, I expect that he sees this, but we're trying. We are trying our best. So, does that work? Does that work? Does that work? Does that work? Opponent is highlighting it, meaning, yeah, he saw it. Let's go into a second game. Let's go into our second game. I mean, he had Bone Crusher Giant, I couldn't have stopped anything. Is there anything that I want to do differently? I mean, we have 2 negates which do nothing. Except for like maybe stop opponent's Ember Cleave. So I think we're just gonna side in the Chemisters inside, but... Yeah, I think we're sided in as much as we can. I mean, this just comes to the draw. If I had one more turn, I maybe would have came back into this. So maybe that's just because opponent started the game and I did not start the game. So maybe that's why. Let's hope this hand is better. So play first, let's try to do this. Alright, early on board wipe and then a Nightback Ambusher feels super good. So we're going to keep this hand. We're gonna lead off with a Stomping Ground tapped, and then we're just going to pass. I mean, the only thing that this doesn't kill is maybe Stinkin if it grows out of hand. Besides that, we can hit most of the things with this card. I don't want another land, obviously. Opponent having a slow start. Is this a Robber of the Rich turn? It is definitely a Robber of the Rich turn. Alright. Is there anything I mind him taking? Alright, so Robber of the Rich doesn't even do anything because we have the same exact amount of cards in hand. Going to shock in something because I want to have the option of playing Flame Sweep. Opponent, you have 6 cards in hand, meaning that you have to play something for your Robber of the Rich to steal anything. Alright, that's fine with me. Please play something else. Play something else. Play something else. Yes. Alright, so we're just going to Flame Sweep. I mean, I didn't want it to extend, but like, that's a fine... killing 2 creatures is fine with me. So we're going to go with our Fabled Passage, crack it, go with a Forest, and then play our Wilderness untap, play our Nightback Ambusher, maybe ambush something. No, I'm not trying to be funny, I literally mean ambush something in combat. And I think we're good. I think we're very good. Thorbrand maybe is annoying. Alright, so opponent takes a turn off, and then meaning that Ambusher is most definitely going to get us a token. What would be annoying is opponent having Ember Cleave. Besides that, I think we're fine. Do we cast the Uro? Uro would stop me from getting a token, so I don't think I want to Uro yet. Just going to pass. And we have a token now for the future. I mean, having a land Scry maybe would have felt good. Besides that, there's not that many things that would have felt better in this hand. I think we curved very well. If opponent has an Ember Cleave, we're a bit punished, but I mean, he still needs another land as well, so like, I mean, like let's see what happens. Alright, Thorbrand is fine because we can just block it, not block him, like block the Bone Crusher Giant, we can still deal with it that way. The good old blocking days of Magic. What would be annoying is Thorbrand with a future Ember Cleave, but we have the Scorching Dragonfire to deal with that. So we're just going to play our Breeding Pool tap, and we're going to pass again. See, Nightback Ambusher just takes over the game when it's not answered. Especially against Mono Red because they can't answer it really well. If your opponent goes for an Ember Cleave, I said again that we're going to just Scorching Dragonfire, whatever he goes for. Currently this is going to kill it, right? Yeah, because it deals that much plus 2 damage. That's very sad. I mean, we couldn't stop that, so like, that's not my fault. So opponent, do you attack? Do you not attack? If he attacks, I might just double block the Thorbrand, or just I think maybe block. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about what I'm going to do in case opponent attacks quite yet. Alright, opponent doesn't even attack, so that's good. We're going to Uro, try to hit something that's decent. Can we hit a bounce spell? Can we hit an expansion explosion? What can we hit that? Alright, Aether Gust feels good. We're going to play this land, and then next turn I think we might or might not able to escape Uro depending on how our turns go. So we're going to just pass. Once our opponent attacks, we can make our decision of if we want to Aether Gust Thorbrand or not. Before he does anything, I'm not prompted to do anything. Alright, so opponent Bone Crusher Giants, the token. Why did I forget to speak English? I don't know. We're gonna Aether Gust the Storebrand, so opponent can deal 3 damage with the Scorch Spitter. Obviously, yes, opponent is going to keep it on top because it's such a good spell currently. If opponent attacks, I'm gonna just block the Scorch Spitter, and I'm just going to Scorching Dragonfire the Bone Crusher Giant. That does save me 2 damage, even though I'm gonna take 2 from the Bone Crusher Giant himself. We are trying to get an expansion explosion, but like the top deck is not, it's not been very nice to us. But we're fine. I mean, we're not in that bad of a situation. So let's just try to get into something. Interaction, down spell, board wipe. Do we board wipe is the question. Do we board wipe? What would be annoying if opponent attacks and then he Ember Cleaves? If he Ember Cleaves, he just kills our board, kills our Uro. I think we do board wipe just because I'm playing around Ember Cleave. Yep. And then, currently we can attack next turn with Uro. Opponent can't block it unless he wants to lose some of his field, and that's good. So opponent, what can you do? I think we're ahead at this stage. I think just drawing two cards per turn and then gaining life against mono red should be enough. I mean, we're at 18 life. Don't forget that we're at 18 life. Is Expansion Explosion lethal if you top deck it? I mean, I'm gonna scry before drawing with Uro because that's good. Expansion Explosion, alright. So is it lethal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 plus 9, that's 19. If opponent doesn't block, I think this is lethal. This is most definitely lethal. Alright, so opponent, do you block? Opponent doesn't block, and then that's just the game. Opponent, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. You're playing mono red. You deserve it. You deserve to lose. So red doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. And we can just Expansion Explosion for what's the biggest number we can go for? We had 18 mana. We can go for. We had 19 mana. Meaning we could go for 15 if I'm not wrong. Alright, so we're going to draw 15 cards. This opponent is going to take 15. That's how you deal damage opponent in one attack. In one blow. So that's gonna be pretty much it for the DeckTech. For the deck itself, I mean, if you did enjoy, please do consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. If you want to join our Discord server for future sideboard options, do make sure to do that. I'll be more than happy to have any fan with us. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.